So let's talk about your home and the violence that is going on and being suffered in your home. I'm going to share some personal stuff about me and my own home and the violence that was occurring in my home that I was allowing. Okay, so why am I talking about this? So what sparked this was reading the scripture Matthew 11:12. It basically says that the kingdom of heaven suffers violence and violent men take it by force. The kingdom of heaven suffers violence and violent men take it by force. What does that mean? Okay. So go pretty deep on that, but let's talk about with our home, right? Like our home is our kingdom, and our homes are suffering violence. Violent men take it by force. So there's evil and wickedness and tyranny of evil men all in the world, right? And so our families are being attacked, and the enemy's hiding in plain sight. Okay, the enemy's hiding in plain sight. What does that mean? The enemy is our public school system, right? Television, social media, right? Not everything on social media, but a lot of it. Maybe it's things within your home. Maybe it's you. Maybe you are the greatest enemy, that your family is suffering because you have fallen into patterns, habits, non-useful behavior, and it has taken your family down, or it's taken them on your guidance and your leadership, and it's not where you want it to be. It could be addiction, it could be drinking, it could be who knows what. Okay, but the enemy is hiding in plain sight. The enemy is hiding in plain sight, and it is biting for your children, for their minds, for their hearts, and their souls. But the question is, what are you going to do? What are we going to do to take it back? Because to take it back, you have to fight violence with violence. So you're going to have to be a righteously violent man to combat the evil violence that is going on. There's a battle for souls here. There's a battle for hearts. There's a battle for minds. And this is for your children. So what happened to me? What happened to me? Because I put myself in a situation where, oh man, like I was on a drift of sorts, right? Like I was in good dad mode, which is not a great place to be, because it's good. And when you're on a path of good, it's going to lead to bad at some point in time. The easy things will become difficult, and difficult things will become easy. So if you take the easy path of being a father for too long, not checking out more often than you should, not investing and spending the time in your kids, not leading by example, you take that easy path, at some point in time it's going to be difficult. And so with my oldest son, who's 19 now, I took an easy path with him. Okay, we, in like the late middle school years to high school years, like we were different. Okay, he started kind of getting, growing into his kind of own personality. He's a lot different than mine. I've been kind of a hard driving kind of guy, and didn't really resonate with him. And I'm pushing and driving, all that kind of stuff, making, we make efforts, we, spend time together and stuff like that, but it was never really deep, quality, great time. And so I got stuck in some patterns and didn't realize the damage it was really causing with me and him. And, my wife and I have 5 kids. So, and then we're always juggling, how do we spend time right with each kid and all of our kids, and it's not easy, man. Like, it's not, like, raising a family in today's world, it's not easy, especially not easy when you're taking the easy path. And I was taking the easier path than I should have with him, and I wasn't really getting to know my son, connecting with my son, right? Like, I was doing the stuff, like showing up, providing for my family, for the most part. I was checking a bunch of boxes, what it came down to. And then we got into a period of where he started acting out. And how's he acting out? tattoos. Start getting tattoos. I was like, whatever you do, don't get a neck tattoo. What does he do? He gets a neck tattoo. Um, Smoking dope. Smoking a lot of dope. And so these things started happening, and rather for me, like, I've changed a lot of things. Like, I don't really care about the tattoos. Like, it was just more of like, I was like, is he thinking this through, the long term, all that kind of stuff, you know? And even marijuana to a certain extent, there's some usefulness there, but not in the way that he was using it from what I could see, right? And he's just young and still forming and all this kind of stuff. It's just something I didn't want my son to do. But rather than me, like, digging down and finding the root problem, I was judging, right? I was parenting. I was like, disciplining him and doing all the stuff that my dad did. And basically my rationale was like, I've checked this box, and this box, and this box. Therefore, dude, you need to come correct and act the way you need to act. I'm checking the box of being a provider, being a good dad, being a leader, being successful, taking care of, your mother and your siblings and all this kind of stuff. And basically what his communication to me was internally was like, I don't care about those boxes. Those boxes don't mean a thing to me. And he's been one where he never really has cared about material things. I don't think my success that I've had in the business world really means a whole lot to him, to be honest. Like, it's not him. He's an artist at heart. He loves art and creation and music, and now he's fighting. Like, he's different than me. And last year he gave me one of the greatest lessons that I could receive. And that was that at kind of a low point, and I could tell he was not in a good place. He has some depression at times that he suffers, like I used to suffer with a lot, and other family members suffer with it. And basically we had a conversation one night because I found him stoned in his room, and I'm like, dude, you can't do this in my house. This is my house. We have little kids, and I'm just not gonna allow it. That's my rules. Like it or leave it. And then not too terribly long after, it's 7:30 in the morning, my son's smoking dope on the back porch to get high before he goes to work. And I broke my heart seeing your son, smoking a pipe early in the morning before they go to work, getting stoned before they go to work. He wasn't in a good place, obviously. And I basically reacted the way my dad would react, was just, get your ass out. Get your ass out of my home, pack your bags, get out of my home. And he said, yep, I get it. Get my stuff and go. And he got his stuff and he went. And he moved out, and I felt justified. I was like, he broke my rules. That's it. That's his fault. He's got learning to do. I hope it's hard for him out there. And I did hope it was hard for him out there because I did want him to learn. So those things are all true. My wife's kind of distraught. And I am too. I'm sad. I'm not saying I'm not sad, but I just felt justified. And I had very little useful heart condition at that point in time. I had a hard heart, and this was probably a month or so later. And no, it was about 2 weeks later, maybe 3 weeks. And I still had this heart of, he's going to learn. He needs to humble himself and come back to me and apologize to me, because this was my home. He was breaking the rules. He's not living right, and he needs to he needs to be the one to humble himself, basically is what it was. And he needs to be the one to say sorry. So one night after this, a few weeks later, one of the kids put on some old videos, because I used to shoot a lot of videos, the family, kids, and we had like this private YouTube channel. So it was like way back when my son was like, so he's 19 now, like literally like he was 1 or 2 years old, and put these videos like on YouTube when YouTube first came out. And so we started watching these videos, and me and my son, from the day he was born, probably until the time when he was 7 or 8, I mean, we were just connected at the hip. We were like best friends, close as could be. And I was his world, and he was mine, next to my wife, and it was just like, it was great. But things change. I began working a lot. I started, my business, left corporate world. I was working a lot in corporate world. Now I started doing real estate and my business on the side, and I was always there, but I wasn't always there, right? I wasn't always connected. I was always a provider. We did our vacations every year, and we hung out, and we did all that, but I wasn't doing the things with him that I needed to do. I wasn't checking the boxes, or the main box that he needed to check, and I stopped checking it a long time ago, and I didn't realize it. So basically, we're watching these home videos, and I'm seeing him as a kid laughing and just like full of life, and how close I was, and that I was just like so close and connected. And the thing was that he felt my love. He felt my love, number one, because of time, number two, through attention, but he just felt my heart, and that's why we're so close. But as he got older, I got older, he got busier, I got busier. Like basically, he stopped feeling my heart, and he stopped really feeling my love. Not love, but like unconditional love. What he felt was me being a dad, judging him, riding his ass, wondering, why he's acting the way he is and not acting the way that I think he should be. And, when he left and then I had that breakdown, it was a point where he didn't want anything to do with me at that point in time. He didn't. And here I am, the dad that was like, running breakthrough events, teaching men how to be better fathers. I'm thinking like, I'm, being a good dad, it's his fault. This is his fault. It's not me, it's him. And, maybe some kids won't turn out. Let me turn this off. Sorry, I come do these videos in my garage sometimes. Got a cold ice plunge over there. It kicks on. So I was just like, maybe one day he'll come around was what I was leaving. Until that night, we're watching those videos, and I broke down in tears, and I had to leave out of the room. And I couldn't stop crying. And just couldn't stop, because I realized how I had hurt him. How I stopped, really, 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 really just deeply connecting with him, being there for him, showing unconditional love. And I stopped doing that. That was the box he needed checked. So it took time. I started, texting him, hey son, I'd like to talk to you. First he would ghost me, not respond. And he'd say, I'm getting, I would just kind of start reaching out. And he's like, I'm getting your messages. I need some time. I just need some time. All right, Dad. Then it was like, look, I love you. Just like I need some time and space. Then we got to meet. I shared my heart with him. And he said, thank you. But he wasn't ready to come home. And I just kept on and kept on. But here's what I did. And what's transpired last year was that situation really brought me to my knees and humbled me greatly. And when I realized, like, man, I'm really fucking up as a father, and I didn't even realize it. I thought I was justified, but I wasn't checking the box that needed to be checked. And my home is going back to the original message, right, is under attack. And our children are being attacked from different angles. Your children, each of your children are going to be different if you have multiple kids. They're going to have different challenges, different things in their life, different enemies, so to speak, different battles they're going to have to fight. So it's very important that you're paying attention to each of your children and making sure that you're connected to the battles that they're fighting. And so here's what I did. I just began to humble myself, right? I had been, in a period of time too, I was really disconnected from God. It was not in a good place there either. And I think the two and two do coincide, right? Like how you do one thing is how you do all things. So I was going through a drift in my life where I wasn't connected to God. My marriage was like in a rut, like in a bad rut. And then therefore so was my relationship with, my oldest son, and probably some of my younger kids too. So I went through this rut. And so I just got to a place through that hurt and that pain where I said, enough's enough. Like, enough is enough. And I went back to God and I asked for help. I just said, open my eyes. I know that I haven't been what I need to be for him. I've probably been good, okay, marginal at best at times, but I didn't want that. I wanted a great relationship. I want my kids to deeply, deeply know how much I love them. And I wasn't doing that. So can you give me a minute, bud? So I wasn't that man at all that I needed to be. And through that time of seeking and praying and reading, I found what I need to find. And it just came down to one thing, like unconditional love. That was what I wasn't doing with him. And so I began to pray. I'm like, I want to be his best friend again. Like, sound crazy because he wasn't even talking to me. But I'm going to make it my mission to be his best friend again. And just to be there for him so we can be buds like we used to be. And a while later, probably about a month and a half or so later, he eventually, he did decide, hey, I'm going to come back home. But he was still guarded with me. But I just began making a little time, not forcing too much. I could continue to pray. I would make some connections, hey, look, you remember this time? Send some pictures, some photos, some videos, and just make little connections. And then, hey, can we have some time tonight? Let's go have some dinner, sit and talk. And we began to do that. And he's training to be a professional boxer. He's been boxing for almost 4 years now. And I haven't taken much of a role in it, partly because he hasn't wanted me to or asked me to. But this last 3 to 4 months, I'm telling you guys, if you are in a situation like me, what I did worked, and was just humble myself, number one, to God, number two, to him, because I did humble myself to him. And I had to go to him and tell him how much I screwed up. And I knew I screwed up, and I realized it, and he screwed up too, right? So there's 200% responsibility in every relationship. 100%, I'm 100% responsible for 100% of me. He's 100% responsible for 100% of him. So I went and I was accountable for my 100% of the stuff that I screwed up, and I owned it. And I said, this is what I see that I did. This is things that I could have done better. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to, you don't have to believe me. Just, these are my actions. And so that's what I did, guys. I humbled myself, prayed, sought wisdom, and just applied it. And now, like he came to me a couple months ago, Dad, I want you to manage me. Like, I want you to help me. So we're having like weekly meetings, game planning, his boxing, how he's going to turn pro, and this and this and that. I'm training with him each and every week. We've got game plans. We're in a great, amazing place. And like amazing, having conversations like just like best friends. It's almost like we're best friends now. But we were in a pit. Okay, so here's the thing, guys, is your family and your children, they're under attack. They need you to step up and be the man that you need to be, to violently be the man that you need to be, righteously violent. So let's wrap this up with this. Is like if you're a husband and father, you are a leader of a family. Okay, that is a role that you have, whether you like it or not. Your choice is like, where are you going to lead your family to a place of prosperity or a place of poverty. Okay, and this poverty in relationships, this poverty in finances, poverty in health, like all these areas, your faith, your family, your fitness, your finances, these are the areas that you have the responsibility to lead your family. It's up to you whether you will or not. So whatever you've done, like no matter what you've done, because I know some of you probably watching this, like you probably screwed some shit up. I get it. Just humble yourself. Like begin to humble yourself, not only to God, but to your family as well. Begin to take action. You don't need to be the hard-ass disciplinarian, right? Like it doesn't work. It doesn't yield the fruit that you want it to yield. I tried doing that. It's like I'm wired like my father, and I love and honor my father. He's a hard ass. And that doesn't always work. Most times it won't work. There's a time and place for discipline, but if you're disciplining without the unconditional love, if you're disciplining without the connection, if you're disciplining without exhibiting the behaviors that you're trying to punish, that you're punishing, and you're not living them out yourself, it's not going to work. So first thing you got to do, my friends, is like be ready to fight. Be ready to fight some things, and you need to fight some things inside of you and begin to change you. You need to begin to produce the fruit, right? You need to produce fruit in the way that you love, the way that you live, the way that you pursue the calling in your heart and become the greatest version of yourself, and being like a true leader and stepping up. And as you do that, your children are going to be watching. They're going to watch what you do, and they're going to pay more attention to what you do than what you say. So let your actions do the talking. But begin to lead your families. Like, go fight for your families. Think about everything that it is that you're doing, because everything that you're doing is speaking what type of leader that you are to your family. Because the enemy's out there, they're hiding in plain sight. So step up, lead your family, and guide them to the place where you feel called for them to be.